Hello everyone. Today we'll be discussing a very interesting topic in our composition class. Today we'll be discussing narrative and story writing, common errors in narrative and story writing. Before we start, let's look at our learning objective. The first on our objective is recall the definition of composition, discuss common errors in writing narrative composition, write a 5-paragraph narrative composition about my last holiday. A narrative composition simply tells a story. It retells either a real or fictitious story. Now, a narrative composition retells a real story when it has to do with your personal experience or someone else's personal experience. Now, fiction or fictitious stories are stories that are not real. They are stories you created out of your own imagination. Take note of this. A good narrative composition must be very descriptive, using the 6 senses such as the sight, smell, taste, sound, touch, and imagery. Now, I would like to really dwell on this to an extent, because I found out that young writers don't usually put this to use. When you ask them to write a narrative composition or even a composition, they just write it very plain and dry, not interesting. Even when you're reading it, you are not absorbing it, you are not comprehending. But when you use a good descriptive power, you find out that you get your reader involved. I've seen people that have read a book and cry as if it's a personal experience. Now, the ability to stimulate tears from one's eyes is a very good instrument of description. Now, descriptive is a very good good use of descriptive words, and descriptive words are simply adjectives. Now, I cannot just come and meet you and say, I visited the park. My daddy bought me ice cream. We strolled around and we came back. That story is lacking essence. Now, the next thing I would hear from you is, so what? It's not like you went to an interesting place though, because you didn't add the 6 senses to it. It would have been much interesting if you say, we visited a park, a very big park. In fact, it's the ghost park. We saw a gigantic brown building. The building was fearful, and we took vanilla flavored ice cream. Later, we walked on the lawn, green lawn. You see, when you say that, your reader or your listener will be captivated. He will want to listen more. Oh, the ice cream was so tasty. You see, by the time you describe your ice cream has strawberries around it, pink ice cream, vanilla flavor, you see, your reader will start salivating. So these are the things you use to make your writing creative. When you're traveling, you should be able to tell them how the terrain is. You don't just say we passed Lokoja, we passed the River Niger. No, you tell them what you see. You tell them about the vegetation. You tell them about the climatic condition. You tell them about the color of the water. You tell them about the people around there, what they look like. These are the things that appeals to your readers. So you just don't say things and say them in plain as if they exist in plain white and no touch of colors to them. So when you're writing, be sure to use a lot of descriptive words that will appeal to our six senses, that will appeal to our imagination, taste, sight, smell. When you say, oh, the place smells awful, I guess people pass feces around. Now you see someone like this, the person is not actually in that environment as you, but he read it from your book. The person will start, can imagine, please don't say again. You see some people who say, you don't want to read this aspect. It reposes me. You see, because of your power of description. So a good writer must use six senses. Sound. You could say pour. Even a lot of things to appeal to your reader. So on the note here that buttress what I just said is the reader must be able to visualize the topic and the writer's experience. Yes, your reader must be able to visualize your topic and your experience through your use of descriptive words. And descriptive words are simply adjectives. Common errors. Common errors. Common errors are those writing mechanics that are frequently misused. We misuse them on a frequent, on daily basis. We do anyhow we write, and these are huge hindrance to the comprehension of our composition. So if you want to write and people would comprehend, you need to use some of these, all of this rather well. Some of the things we commonly misuse are sentence organization, subject-verb agreement, capitalization, paragraphing, spelling, punctuation marks. These are the things we do not use correctly when writing. And these are in fact, they are the bedrock of a very good composition. Now, sentence organization. Sentence organization. Events must be written in a sequence and clearly. Events must be written in a sequence and clearly. For example, he locked the door despite the warning. He locked the door. There's a comma, there's a full stop, despite the warning. You are still flowing, regardless of the fact that he is the subject, verb, the locked is the verb, D is the article, door is the object, does not mean that your sentence has ended. He locked the door despite the warning. The sentence is still flowing. So the need to add a period or a full stop to that sentence is not there. So the right thing to do, let's check below. He locked the door despite the warning. This is the correct aspect of the sentence. Because he locked the door, there's a comma. Because there is a comma here, despite the warning, separating the main clause from the subordinate clause. Now you would agree with me that when you're writing this or when you're reading it out loud, he locked the door despite the warning. He locked the door despite the warning. Even when you say there's a short pause there. So that should give you the signal that you need a comma and not a period. A period is a longer pause. Subject-verb agreement. Most times we write and we don't get to use this. We just flaunt this rule and write. I guess the problem is anxiety, so we shouldn't be anxious for anything. The subject must agree with the verb in terms of numbers. Example, a singular subject goes with a singular verb. He, she, Ada walks to school. He, she, there's a comma showing that they are separate subjects. They are not together. So just like I said a subject must agree with the verb in terms of numbers and also persons. We shall see that. Now, the first rule states singular subject to a singular verb. Second rule states singular plural subject to plural verb. The example here, they we walk to school. They we walk to school. You see, the subjects they, we and we, they are plural in nature, so should go with a plural verb, which is walk, without any inflection. Then the persons. We have the personal pronoun I and the second person pronoun you. This personal pronoun I and the second person you are considered persons. Hence they use what? Verb in plural. They are considered persons. Regardless of the fact that they appear as one, they are considered persons, so they use verb in plural. Let's look at the example. I or you walk home. So you don't say you walks home, you simply say I walk home, you walk home. Example, more examples of subject-verb agreement. The two exciting things about the book was the character and the plot. This sentence is incorrect because the subject of the sentence is the two exciting things, and the two exciting things are plural. So the right verb to use is not was, is were, because were is plural in nature. So you should say the two exciting things about the book were the character and the plot. So this is a correct sentence, while the first one is incorrect. Capitalization. Now we found out that a lot of you, just so many of you, in the event of writing your composition, you reduce proper nouns to general, to common nouns. Some of you even write your names in lower cases. Capitalization, simply a way of capitalizing a word, writing the words in upper cases and not in lower cases. Now, some of the words we need to write in upper cases are names of people, places, specific places, countries, days of the weeks. Some of you write, I went to school on a Tuesday. You write your T in lowercase. It's wrong. Month of the year, name of institution and organization, and languages. I speak Igbo. You write the I in lowercase. No. Please take note that names of languages, institution like our school, JC Best, JC, J in capital, C in capital, B in capital. The rest should be in lowercase. Best. When you get to the T, schools in capital and international in capital, because that's the initial letters. The initial letters of these words should be written in capital because they are proper nouns. So the names of persons, your name, my name is a proper noun. Your country, my country is a proper noun. The place I live is a proper noun. The days of the week and months, they are proper noun. Names of institutions and organizations, proper noun. Languages are proper noun. So please learn to write their initial letters or first letters in uppercase. So that is the correct use of capitalization. Paragraphing. Now this is a very, very huge problem, but it's also a simple one to solve. A lot of pupils write and maybe write 2 sentences and that is a paragraph to them. No. When you need to explain orally, your explanation provides for more than 2 sentences. Sometimes though. So when you're writing a narrative essay, this is narrative, and narrative simply means you talk. narrative essay. Tell, you talk, you retell. So when you're writing a narrative essay, it is expected that you are detailed, because you'll be using a lot of descriptive words to appeal to your reader. So when you are supposed to be detailed and you write in 2 sentences, you're not detailed. You're not providing any narrative. So when paragraphing, I suggest that our paragraph should contain 5 to 8 sentences. Just one paragraph should contain 5 to 8 sentences. Then you connect your paragraph with the right transitional words. So paragraphing, all narratives must be clearly written in sequence. Take note of one thing though. Every idea must be contained in a paragraph. So all narrative must be written in sequence, separated by paragraphs, which should be connected by transitional words such as firstly, evidently, in addition, etc. So what am I trying to say? When you write your introduction and there are still information that you intend to give in your introduction, if informations are similar in 2 paragraphs, we expect that you use words like in addition, more so, furthermore. These are words that show that what you said previously is in connection with what you're saying in the next paragraph. And these words I just mentioned here are transitional words, regardless of the ones we have on the screen. These words here are transitional words. So these transitional words I mentioned here, they are connective. They show that, oh, what you said has a connection with the second paragraph. So is a more detailed aspect of what you just said before. So there's a connection. Now, in the event of saying something different, you use a transitional word such as however, to show the similarity, to show that yes, what you said earlier is different from what you're saying in the next paragraph. So we'll do transitional words much later, but I would advise that you check them out on Google to see the different transitional words we have and their uses and how they can enrich your composition. So all paragraphs must contain an idea. If you're talking about your introduction and you want to make your first 2 paragraph introduction, please do so. And maybe you're traveling, your first 2 paragraphs contain your preparation for the journey, then the second paragraph or the third paragraph rather should also contain your experience of the journey. So you see, you don't pack up your information in one paragraph. It will make your writing so clumsy and uninteresting. So you need to separate them in paragraph for the reader to enjoy and for the message to flow freely. But when you put it together, it makes it so clumsy, not interesting. So it's just a whole bulk of nonsense, if you get me. Thank you. So spellings. This is a huge problem. Oftentimes I've encountered these 3 things in my class. Pupils usually use this interchangeably. They assume that hence they sound the same, almost the same rather, so they can be used as a synonym for the other, which is very wrong. These shows plural, this singular. Where has to do with place. Where has to do is an auxiliary verb, a past tense of are. Where is an auxiliary verb. So I don't see the relationship between the both. So please, like I said, when you want to write, be sure to have your dictionary close to you. Check for spellings, check for synonyms and antonyms, and homophones and homonyms. so that you don't get to use the wrong word for your communication and misinform your readers. So please, whenever you're writing, be sure to use your dictionary. If you don't have one and you have a smartphone, Google, and Google will give you the correct spelling and also give you the synonym and usage, so you know how to use properly. So spelling is a huge problem. You can misinform your readers and they won't get the message correctly. So punctuation mark, comma to be precise. We have lots of punctuation mark, but for this purpose I'm discussing comma. Use comma after introductory elements, phrases and clauses. Now, example, having left the park, we drove to the mall. Evidently, the plumber did not fix the pipe. If the teacher gives tasks, I will inform you. Now, did you see the use of comma? We discussed it at the initial class we had, and this clause, we discussed comma. Now, when you use two different clauses, a dependent clause and independent clause, usually you mark them off with a comma. And there is something I always say in the class: when you write, read aloud. Please do not read in your mind, because when you read in your mind, you find out that you get to miss things. Your mind reads faster than your hands. So we want you to put down your pen. You don't write, just read. Read, and when you read, that place where you have this short pause, you need to use a comma. And when you have a long pause, you use a full stop or a period. So having left the park, you find out that no matter how you try to read the sentence, you must pause when you get to park. Please try it. So avoid unnecessary use of comma, such as this. The woman went to the mall because she wants to see the auditor. The woman went to the mall because she wants to see the auditor. This is wrong because there's a comma after the mall before the cause. So there are two basic things you don't do. You don't use a comma before because, and you don't use because to start a sentence. So please do not misuse comma. Some of you can write the woman went, comma, to the mall, comma. That is wrong. Your sentence is not flowing. Write the sentence, read it out. Where you feel that pause, that short pause, you know you need to put a comma there. Thank you. Conclusions. Having taken note of these errors, check your previous composition notes and identify your own mistakes. A lot of you have been giving feedback on your composition, bringing out these mistakes, telling you to learn how to spell some words. I need you to check. If you don't have your note with you, write your composition and try to check out these mistakes. And before then, I have a task for you. Write a 5-paragraph composition about your experience in this lockdown. That's the task. Rubrics. These are the things I'll be looking out for in your composition. The first is the paragraphing, use of transitional words, spellings, good use of capitalization and punctuation marks. You will agree with me that these are the things we just treated. Then guidelines. Essay must contain the following details: cause of the lockdown, experience, achievements. Cause of the lockdown, what are your experiences during this lockdown? Then what have you been able to do? Or what skills have you acquired? Or what have you been able to do? Were you able to bake? Just give us the details. And note, your details must be expanded to achieve this stipulated paragraph. That's 5-paragraph essay.